Hi, guys. So we are going to continue this week talking about um, what we talked about last week with biomes, and I want to connect everything you should have learned so far on this word you're looking at, ecosystems, and it'll all kind of come together. Okay. So if we review, what is an ecosystem? That is made up of all living things. So instead of saying living things, a fifth grader says the word biotic. Biotic means living. That's your plants, animals, and organisms that are in a given area interacting with each other and also with non living environments. Non living means abiotic. That would be like weather, earth, sun, soil, climate, and atmosphere. Abiotic means not living. Biotic means living. Plants, are they living? So they're biotic. Animals are living, they're biotic. Remember, the sun is abiotic. We've got many different types of ecosystems. How many different types are there? Two major categories. Aquatic basically means water, and terrestrial, we know from talking about planets, means land. Types of ecosystems continued. How are they alike and different? We've got categories inside of these two ecosystems that are aquatic, meaning water, terrestrial, meaning land. Here we are. There's our biomes. There's many types of biomes that we will learn about. We talked about last week some of them specifically. I included a couple more. Your deserts, oceans, lakes and ponds, rainforests, taiga, not taiga, taiga, savanna, the tundra, Everglades, estuaries, and salt marshes. So there's two big types of biomes, land or terrestrial, and water is aquatic. Then we're going to break it down even more for you. Deserts, what does it look like? What's the climate like? If you want to go back and kind of look at, I'm going to include the Brain Pop video link. They have Brain Pops specifically on each different type of biome. Okay, so as you listen, you can kind of figure out a little bit more in depth. What does a desert look like? Its climate, the plants and animals you'll find in that specific biome. Tropical rainforest is another type of biome. The tundra, the picture I kind of think of is very, very cold climate. The taiga, we've got the savanna, which is similar to a desert, but definitely there's more deserts that exist versus savannas. And I included a picture of animals you'll find in that specific type of biome. So the Everglades kind of go with your swamp, marsh, estuary, and you'll see your alligators and crocodiles there. I've talked about before, the biggest part of the Everglades is down in southern Florida, kind of near the Miami border. It's a huge region of swamp and marsh where you'll see these alligators living in their natural habitat. Aquatic is a type of biome. More specifically, you have your oceans, your lakes. Okay, I want to talk about, if I go back to this picture, as we talk about ecosystems, kids always get kind of confused with, they use the word population and community. It is different. So kind of think about population at school, community, Sheffield Lake. So if you look at this picture, ask yourself, what biome are they probably in? And it'll kind of help you with what's the difference between these two vocabulary words. Population is all the members of one species that live in an ecosystem. The community is all the populations of different species in an ecosystem. So we think about it. Population might be all the lions in that previous picture. one species. The community is all the populations of the different species in that ecosystem. So, community would be your lions, the butterflies, and all the other animals that you saw. They make up a community. So, think about Sheffield Lake. Okay, your population might be all the boys, all the girls, might be 10-year-old boys, 10-year-old girls. That is more specific than your community is every single population that lives in that ecosystem. So kind of think about that previous picture if I go back. You have many different populations. You've got your giraffes, your zebras, your butterflies. Don't forget, plants are living organisms that make up this community. Because the community is all the different populations within. Specifically, an organism might be a cheetah. Population would then be all the cheetahs. The community are all the living things around that cheetah that make up that ecosystem, which is everything around the cheetah, including other animals, other plants, and organisms. So, hopefully, that breaks it down because when we talk about ecosystems, kids often use population when they should actually be using the word ecosystem or community. So, it kind of breaks it down if you kind of look at this slide again and analyze. An organism would be a cheetah, population, all the cheetahs, community, or all the living things around the cheetah. And the ecosystem is everything around that cheetah, including your plants and other organisms. Kind of a question to ponder on. What would happen to the population of zebras or other prey, meaning who the zebras eat, if there were less cheetahs? What would happen to the zebras? Think about that. What would happen to zebras if there were less cheetahs? Knowing the cheetahs eat the zebras, would the zebra population increase or decrease if there was less cheetahs? Well, if cheetahs are eating zebras and there's going to be less cheetahs, there's probably going to be more zebras because they're not being eaten. So the zebra population might increase, but the cheetah population obviously decreased. So it kind of shows that one animal has such an effect on the rest of that ecosystem. So think about what is your habitat, the area you live, and the area you have. That would be your food, your water, your shelter. And this is what we talked about briefly. So I wanted to kind of show you everything we've talked about comes together from food chains to ecosystems to biomes. So remember looking at this food chain, the grass is a producer. Who eats the grass? The grasshopper, which is the first consumer, which is an herbivore because it eats grass. Who eats the grasshopper? The mouse. The mouse would be your secondary consumer. And who eats the mouse? Is the owl. So it all comes together from what we talked about. So I wanted to kind of um, bring you guys together to understand everything we've learned in this chapter on ecosystems as a whole. And hopefully that kind of helps you break up everything you've learned so far.